I was home in bed with my wife. We just turned the lights out, and my deputy bureau chief called and asked if I could go up to the 24th precinct and assist Elizabeth Lederer, who was up there working alongside the police.
Elizabeth Lederer was the prosecutor in the Central Park Jogger case. By all accounts, she was incredibly diligent. She was not one of these prosecutors who were just in it to win.
You have the right to remain silent and to refuse to answer any questions.
So at this point, after a night in police custody moved from precinct to precinct, Kevin Richardson implicated himself in this night of mayhem, with numerous assaults and possibly the rape of Tricia Miley.
Everybody was around her, and I came over there.
Kevin Richardson had a scratch under his eye. So the detectives asked him, how did you get the scratch under your eye?
I got in the way. She kind of like scratched me a little bit. It wasn't a face.
Let me just ask you, you're saying that she scratched you and you're indicating a place on your face?
Yeah, I think it's somewhere right here.
And it's not just Richardson. Other teenagers are implicating themselves on video too.
I started hitting that stuff. And she was on the ground. Everybody stopping and everything.
This is my first rape. I never did this before. This will be my last time doing it.
Antoine was going for her clothes. No pistols going in her arms.
And while he was doing that, you were feeling her breasts with both hands?
Mm-hmm.
And is this your father who's seated next to you?
Yes.
They were all making statements, you know, and open confessions in front of their parents.
All of them except Yusef Salam. He never goes on video and never makes a written statement. And the reason is because his mother comes in and says no.
I kept telling them I wanted a lawyer. I told them several times. I had witnesses who heard me tell them. And they continued to do what they planned to do because they had an agenda.
Was Yusef there?
Yusef, yes.
When I first saw those tapes, I didn't disbelieve them. Like anybody else, when I watch a confession tape, my first impulse is, whoa, an innocent person really wouldn't do that.
What you told that to the police before, was it true?
I don't remember saying this.
My second impulse is to listen to the details and to be influenced by them.
I seen this lady, jogging lady. She had on blue shorts.
But those just aren't the facts. Tricia Mealy that night was wearing tights on her legs.
She was jogging like the thing around the reservoir.
She wasn't jogging at the reservoir, which is more than half a mile away from where she was found.
It was Kevin Richardson who volunteered, this is where I tackled the woman, the jogger, right about here. I said, well, how did her body get from here down the ravine? Who took her down the ravine? He said, I don't know. I said, what do you mean you don't know? I said, the body was found down that hill. He said, I don't know how she got there.
To look back at these statements, there are huge problems. They're inconsistent within themselves, they're inconsistent relative to the other statements, and they're inconsistent relative to the facts.
How did those marks get on her head? I shouldn't say that those aren't the marks of a knife. She has a fractured skull. She was hit with a very, very heavy object there. Corey, you saw that picture. You don't get these lines. You don't get a fractured skull from
That more look like it's from like, it's like a rock. I did see Kevin pick up a hand rock, a small hand rock, and hit across the face with it.
Are you just saying that because I am asking you?
No.
Why didn't you say it before?
Huh?
Why didn't you say it before?
I remember me taking a quick glance in the dark. I remember him picking up a rock from out the dirt.
The inconsistencies in Corey Wise's statement
and
and his statements about using a knife in the commission of the crime, I think are just complete exaggerations. He was a very difficult person to interview because he kept changing his story.
When you watch Corey, it's almost like he's desperate to get it right. He tells one story at this moment, he tells this story at another moment. Well, yeah, when you look at false confession cases, it's because when they told the truth, you didn't believe them and you made them change it.
Another problem for the cops and the prosecutors was that every time they went to talk to another one of the Central Park Five, they heard that different people were actually the ones that did it.
Raymond had an arm, Steve had a leg. He spread it out. And Antoine got on top.
What was Kevin doing while Steve Lopez was holding her hands and hitting her with the brick?
He was having sex with her.
You said that someone had sex with her?
Yeah, Kevin, Raymond. It was Stephen Raymond.
Of course, there are going to be some inconsistencies between the statements. And in my experience, when you take statements, there's kind of a range, right?
They minimize their own involvement in it by saying, but he did more than I did.
I was playing with her legs.
What were you doing to her legs?
Huh? I was going up and down her legs. I wasn't doing as much as they was doing.
Grab her arms and stuff.
Okay, were you grabbing her arm?
Yeah.
The teenagers believed that if they said something, they could get out of the interrogation room.
All I had to do is tell the truth. I probably would have been home.
What they didn't realize was the detectives handed them a shovel.
According to the law of New York, by saying, I didn't do the rape, I just held her down, that is as guilty under the law as if saying I climbed on top of a woman and raped her.
I think we're at the point where we're thinking there may well be a brain dysfunction as recovery proceeds.
At least a half a dozen reporters gathered around Dr. Robert Kurtz asking for more details.
Reporters descended on the hospital. We had to sort of hang out in the lobby and wait for the reports to come in from the doctor.
When it becomes known that a group of teenagers of color are accused of doing this to that white investment banker, that poor woman, it's going to explode New York City.
For people to go to their defense is unbelievable.
Politics, race,
if it wasn't black women, y'all wouldn't even be here.
Emotions, the justice system, all are going to come together like a fireball.
There is a Donald Trump connection to this case.
You better believe that I hate the people that took this girl and raped her brutally.
And all while this investigation is going on, Tricia Miley is clinging to life at Metropolitan Hospital.
She was in a coma for a week, and then she started opening her eyes and looking around.
Can she talk? Will she say she remembered something?